Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to Grounded in Maine today. My name is Amy. My guest today is Stephanie Gross. Stephanie is in Canada and she has her business since 2007 is called Bumby Wool. Or is it just Bumby?
Bumby Wool. Yep.
Bumby Wool.
Although
Okay.
people want to say Bumbly Wool and add an L like all the time. So I'm really impressed that you got it right off the bat.
Hey,
It's
I
a
do
good
my
start.
best.
It's
I
a
do
good
my
start.
best.
We're gonna
But
have oh my
Stephanie,
gosh.
thank you so much for being here. I'm thrilled to learn about this, especially, I mean, we're in the dead of winter right now. I mean, at least in the north. So, this is fascinating. So, this is merino wool. Yeah?
The sheep are actually American sheep or Australian. But then the
Okay.
fabric is made in North America, and then I do all the dyeing and all the fashion and all the cutting and sewing, and we make it, we drench it in maple syrup, keep the Canada geese away from it, put some poutine, and then ship it around the world. Do we know what poutine is, Amy?
Well, yeah, I'm from Maine. Yeah, and so I mean, one of the things that you said in your guest forum that really struck me was you said, scaling without sacrificing ethics. And so I
Mm-hmm.
love that because merino wool, of course, is a natural fabric
It's
wool.
ancient. I mean, we've been
Yeah.
using wool for textiles and for ages, for since the dawn of man. We've been veering away from it, like the 70s are trying to get us all these plastic fabrics and
Yeah.
disposable fashion and making it easier, but it's just caused so many more problems with our anyway. You
Everything.
know, yes, so many. I mean, the list of things, the problems that it's caused between the microplastics in our water and then rashes and heat things and I'm hitting menopause, so like I'm either too hot or too cold all the time. Like it's just never
Right.
ending battle.
Right.
So
The fabrics don't breathe. So there's like
mm-mm.
no
Wrap you in some polyester plastic and see how that. Yeah,
sounds
yeah. Mm-hmm.
warm,
Okay.
sweaty. And so why did you choose and so this is like clothing. Like I saw, we were just talking about your jumper that has a hood and ears and like, being in winter, I was like, ooh, that just looks so cozy. But why did you choose wool? I mean, there are so many fabrics that you could use.
Well, I that's a really really big question, Amy, and let's see if I can not talk for half an hour, ramble on about myself. But no, so I grew up on Vancouver Island, which we kind of talked about originally, and that's like Seattle, the upper Northwest, Pacific Northwest. That's what you Americans call it, right? But we're anyway. So that's it's very focused on the planet. It's very eco-friendly, just holistically as a location. Like the tree huggers, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, we stand up for what we believe in, and that's just the way that I grew up. And so I'm a '70s baby. I'm hitting 50, getting old.
My
I'm sitting in my
people.
queen seat. I'm sitting in my queen seat. Anyway, so I grew up just really wanting, like, caring about our environment. It was just always the whole not touching on animals thing, the body shop, and doing the hard thing because it's the right thing. Like that was ingrained in me from day one. And I was actually born in New Zealand.
Oh,
So I know
that's
that was a
fun.
surprising thing, hey? And my grandmother's a Kiwi, and my mom's from Canada. My dad's British. And when they were like in their early 20s, they both went to New Zealand to go backpacking and hitchhiking across the country. Well, my dad had a car. My mom was a hitchhiker. So he picked her up hitchhiking and they crashed a wedding or something. They got married and had a couple kids and then moved to Canada, which is where I was raised on Vancouver Island, where she grew up. So yeah, we moved to Canada in, I think it was 79. So, and I was like the 1980s, 1990s latchkey kid and raised myself kind of a thing with like everybody's working and so I was just really like I started working when I was 11. I had babysitting and then paper routes and then I had 3 jobs in high school. And so I'm always hustling because I don't know, I get bored really easily. And then I moved to Edmonton in '97. I met my husband there, who is okay. Guess this. This is another exciting story about me because I told you I'm going to ramble. My husband's from Costa Rica.
Fun in
No, really fun.
Canada.
Oh, so he was on like a temporary job sort of thing. And they brought him up. He's super smart. He's really cute too. And he's an engineer. So I always say like I dance on the box that he's in, right? He's so square and I'm so like round. And we get along really well, which is good. I think I drive him nuts, but he loves it anyway.
But he likes, he likes it.
He's okay for the most part. He's like, yeah, I still love you, but you drive me nuts. Anyway, so we met and fell in love so fast, and we moved in together within a couple months. And then his work permit was done, like his temporary job thing was done. So it was like break up or move down to Costa Rica with him. So I'm like, all right, let's go. So I moved down to Costa Rica. I was down there for a few years, and we got married down there less than a year after we met. And it's our 24-year anniversary in like a few weeks here. I know. And then we moved to Canada, had our babies. So I worked in a call center doing
bunch of things.
Yeah, call center things like answering calls for General Electric. And I worked in human resources and recruiting. I learned how to speak Spanish. And I'm just like I like to learn things and know things. I was in science, like science and math were my background in high school and university, which I didn't finish, but that's a whole other story. So when we moved to Canada, I ended up working in the northern part of Alberta, which is where the oil sands are, like the whole oil and gas industry of Alberta. And I worked in safety training, document control. I was like on the ground with people that were, taking oil out of the ground, which a lot of people are like, oil is evil. And I will talk about this on this platform a little bit, just that, anything, I think that Canadian and Alberta oil and gas is the most ethical way of getting the oil and gas out of, to be able to use. The amount that we use is so little compared to just the amount that we actually produce is like less than China increases every year. Like it's just such a small amount. But the reclamation project, like I would be driving to work and like there's this hill that was like the oil was coming out of the ground and it was reclaimed. They planted trees and grass. They put bison back on the land. The ethics and morals, like I was a woman working in the industry and I felt safe and respected. They have environmentalists that are like, if there's like a frog that laid eggs on the path, they have to like wait until they vacated. Like it's really a lot better than a lot of people think. So there's just a little bit of information. So I was up there and when you're either like working or you're making babies up there. Like it was just, there's so many women that were with their spouses and they were having babies. Like it was just a thing. And the community was so tight because they're so isolated in northern Alberta. There's one road and it was 7 hours north of Edmonton. And it was just this just 2-lane highway. Anyway, so had our babies. And then I realized that you're either, that there must be other people that wanted to parent the way that I wanted to parent. So I got involved in some groups and I like the Little Leche League and natural parenting methods and cloth diapering. I wanted to cloth diaper and I couldn't find it. It was, 19. No, not 19. Oh, I aged myself again. 2007, Amazon was still mailing books and Netflix was mailing DVDs. I think it was still called The Facebook at that time. It was like the beginning of social media. And so it was really hard to find what I wanted, and there were no cloth diapers available like in my town. So I decided to make them myself because I like to, throw myself into new, unusual situations. And so I started making them, and then I thought, well, there must be other people that want these too in my neighborhood, in my community. So I started my business. So it was just kind of like, I see a problem, I see an opportunity, and I just jump to it, and which has just been my whole life, the whole way through. And
that's the entrepreneur thing, though, right?
It's the entrepreneur thing, yeah. And I just want to like make the world better for being here, and like when I worked in the call center, I would uplift the people around me and try to help them with their English. I was teaching English down there so that people could get promoted, giving people an opportunity to like they would make more money working in the English call center, right? So trying to give people opportunity and supporting that. And then the oil and gas industry, just really taking a microscope to what was happening around me and not just accepting it. And I just loved the safety protocols and the community. And like, there's just so many, I was just always looking at it from that aspect about how we can make things better, not accepting the status quo, but like, So I started making cloth diapers, and then I fell into understanding how wool can be used as a cloth diaper. And then I'm like, well, this just took me back to my roots of, New Zealand. I have pictures of my mom baby wearing me on her back with like, we're jacked out head to toe in wool. And I just love wool. And then the more that I learned, the more I nerded out on it, that it's just such an amazing miracle fiber that people are starting to understand more about. I just want to share that with the world because it's good for our environment. The sheep, something that it reduces our garbage, because it can last for longer and it's biodegradable if we do end up having to throw it out, and it's an heirloom product and we can repair it. Darning, you think of darning, you think of wool, right? Like wool socks is darning. That's,
Yeah.
And then even the way that it's dyed is better for the environment than cottons and cellulose. Like when they're dyeing fabrics, the rivers are running with dye water. Like there's a lot of dye water, whereas with wool, it's a low impact dye, and it adheres to the protein of the wool fabric or the actual fiber itself. So silk and silk and wool have this process, hot acid dye, and the water is clear when it's done. I wouldn't want to drink it. It's like acid water, but it's citric acid that we use to set the dyes. But yeah, the water is completely clear, and it's really neat. So it's just less environmental impact, and it just fell into all these things that I really deeply care about. So, right. And then now, and then the rashes, it reduces temperature regulating, it reduces rashes through diapering. It's SPF protective to 50. So it reduces our temperature. Like if it's really, really hot, you would use wool to cover your body to protect from the sun, and then it wicks away sweat, evaporates out, reducing your overall temperature. Like it is literally, magical. Or if it's cold, it's magical. And there's no other fiber that's like it. And I just think it's a miracle. Like it's a gift from Mother Nature. And we've been using it, like I said, since the dawn of man. It's the first, that and flax, which is what linen is, and hemp. Those are the ancient fabrics that we used. And I'm glad that we're really coming back to that. There's a lot of really cool ways that we're utilizing some of these ancient. That's why I have it on my website. It's the intelligence of wool, making things a little more comfortable so people can tackle what life asks of them. And it just makes people, it's fire retardant too. So it's good for sleepwear, not covering yourself in chemicals. Like, right? Yeah. There's been cases of like kids going missing. Like they wandered off into the woods or whatever. There's been a few that they brought it up, and like the kids survived because they were wearing wool. Like they protected them from the elements. And like I remember there was a case that a kid went missing a few years ago, and the RCMP was in Ontario, I think it was, and they said the only reason that he's alive is because of his wool clothes. He would have died.
Oh,
no, like that's so impactful, right?
Well, I mean, it checks all the boxes, like for real. I mean, when I think of wool, I think of warm, but you're saying it's good for hot as well. Is it like a really fine? I don't know that I've actually seen merino wool, honestly, or like touched it, or I haven't worn it.
So merino is a breed of sheep, and there are lots of different breeds of sheep, and merino is known to be one of the softest. And part of the reason is that merino come from the Maine industry in Australia, and so the temperature in Australia is hot and dry. So the fiber is really fine and soft. So the finer the fiber is, the softer it is. And then there's still that core, like when you're brushing a dog, there's the undercoat and then the top coat. And
right. There's
the coarse core fibers that are thicker. And those are the ones that like needle through the fabric and like poke you until you want to go crazy.
Right.
So there's different coarsenesses of wool, and the heavier or more coarse it is, the more durable it is. And that's when you're going to get some of those, like the Peruvian wool, for instance. Have you felt that? Like,
well, I'm thinking of like alpaca.
Alpaca is similar in a lot of ways.
It's like a whole lot, right? They're Peruvian.
No, it's just they have the sheep as well, and because the climate of Peru is colder, right up in the mountains, the fiber is thicker, and alpaca actually. So Sorry, I just like went down a spiral of nerdy
Look at
information
what
about
I did.
So like wool fiber itself, the core of the wool, the actual follicle, like the fiber itself, is hollow, like a sponge, and alpaca is not. So alpaca is actually a warmer one. It doesn't have all the temperature regulating properties that wool does. Buffalo is like that too. So it's more of like a hot thing. So to the point that they actually will mix it with wool because it will overheat you if you're not careful, like if it gets too thick. But just like wool, there's soft and not soft. And so depending on what,
right, there's like scratchy and
yeah, because of exactly. So it depends on, so just because it's merino doesn't mean that it's super soft. It just tends to be, but not always is it, because it's a breed of sheep, and depending on, like there's different grades, right? And just because
like us. I have coarse hair, and you look like you have very soft, smooth hair.
I do have very like duck fluff. It's like I can, when I do a ponytail, it's like so tiny. I can use those little tiny elastics, and I can get it around twice around my whole hair. Yeah, I have very little hair. Yeah, exactly. So just different, and then there's some other breeds of sheep that tend to be coarser, but some of them will have some softer ones as well. So, and it's about using the right tool for the job, right? And there's different, and so we use 18.5 microns, which is like how thick the actual gauge of the fiber is, for what we're doing, because we want it baby soft. But if you get too soft, then it can break too easily. So there's like that, right? So like it will snap. And even when you're trying to knit it, so fabric is either usually knit or woven. So have you heard of like the shuttlecock thing, and like the weft, and the weaving, and the big loom?
Well, I don't know all that. I know, I used to knit, and I know that there's like a loom.
Yeah.
And the loom has the little weavy thing.
The weft and the so that's weaving, like basket weaving. Or you can knit, which it's just using your 2 needles, right? When we're using machine knit, like your sweater that you're wearing is actually a machine knit. So the yarn is just super like a thread, and the machines, like the ones that I do in interlock quite often. So I think it's 72 needles. So it's like 72 little needles, and they go really, really fast, and it's like thread, and it's really, and then it makes a tube. And that's how that fabric is made. So there's lots of different ways of making fabric, and
wow.
And then even with we use interlock, we use jersey, jersey is like a t-shirt material, and then interlock is like a double-sided knit, and then the fleece is what you're wearing, which is like a different way, and then there's French terry. There's so many different types of fabrics. I have no idea why I'm saying any of that, because it really doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about. But yeah, so the thinner, so the wool, if it's thin, it will allow, so when, I'm going to find my words.
It's better, it's even easier for shaping, right?
No, I was going to say more that if it's like a little sponge. So when it's exposed to humidity, wool will hold 30% its weight in moisture before it even feels damp. So if you're in a hot situation, the wool is going to soak up your sweat, and then it will evaporate out the outside of it, taking heat and moisture with it. So like sweating, like a dog panting. So if you're wearing a lightweight t-shirt and it's sunny, SPF protective, it takes your sweat, it naturally deodorizes it, neutralizes urine, neutralizes sweat, turns it into salts and water, and then evaporates the sweat out to the exposed air around you, and it reduces your temperature. If you are in a cold environment, it will actually hold the moisture inside of the hollow core, like a wetsuit does. Like there's like channels in a wetsuit. And then it will hold that moisture in there, and then it actually makes it like an insulated barrier, keeping your internal temperature inside of the little wool sandwich that you have going on. And then it keeps like if it's raining, it will keep the moisture on the outside, and then it will hold, and then it like a barrier, and then it keeps you nice and warm on the inside. So like if you look at
it's almost like a smart technology. Like
it is from Mother Nature. It's a freaking miracle. Like it is the coolest. Like it is so cool. And so like you think of England and like Call the Midwife, and like a lot of people think of wool as like the mountains and it's raining, and Ireland, Scotland, England, and it's cold and it's scratchy, and and the humidity will actually just like it it's like water off a duck's back. It will actually dribble right off the wool, and then it will act like a little sponge to hold it, and it buries. So the inside will be dry, the outside is wet, and then you will see, like if you brought it inside like the tavern and you hang it up, it will steam off and it'll dry so much faster than like a cotton would.
Wild.
It's so neat. And then it also reduces odor. So like the campfire smell that you can't get out of your shirt, your poly shirt, it doesn't stick to the wool. It's flame retardant, great for camping, right? Like your kid actually had somebody say that their kid tripped and fell into the fire wearing my wool. And they would have, the only reason they didn't have like major burns all over their body was because of the wool. The doctor said. Yeah, like their feet and hands and face were not okay. Their body was fine because they fell into the fire wearing my wool pants and shirt.
Well, that is very lucky.
Yeah. So, I mean, not lucky to land in the fireplace, but.
Well, of course, yeah. But like not like full body burns. Goodness gracious. But so, and so you, okay, your diaper covers are adorable. My goodness. And so,
I agree.
like, if, you know, if they get wet, because it happens with babies, if they get wet, the liquid, the moistness, it doesn't stick. Like, I'm just thinking, I don't have kids, but like kids get like diaper rash and stuff like that because of moisture buildup, right?
That's exactly it. So, like before, like Call the Midwife, right? Like that was just post-war. So even in that show and before, you would either have no diaper cover or it would be a wool diaper cover. And then it was during, and everybody used cloth. Like there was no such thing as disposable diapers, right?
Right.
So then after the war, and like women went to work because the men were all
time to wash everything.
Right. So then the men came back and then the women are like, I liked working. I was good at it. So then they didn't want, the women's rights movement came out, which is fantastic. And they didn't want to be hand washing their knits because you have to hand wash your wool or else it will shrink, which I can talk about. Actually, I'll talk about really little anecdote. So wool also has scales on it, like little Velcro hooks. And so when you rub it together, especially when it's hot, like like a washing machine, with warm water, it will actually, it's called felting, and it will shrink up and stick to itself. And once it's stuck, it will not unstick. And that's where acrylic felt is actually used to be made from wool. And that's why it's called felt. And then like a pool table is actually made from felt, like back in the 80s. And then like the pool cue would like put a big hole in the thing and like, oh no, it's so much money because it's made from wool. Right. And they would use that because it's utilizing odors and the cigar smoke and anyway, so that's really cool. So, and and also like TV shows and movies and kids, cartoons, it was always like somebody would put the wool sweater in the washing machine and it would come out like a newborn baby size. Right? Do you remember that kind of? And they don't really talk about it anymore. Like that's like an 80s thing. I'm aging myself. You looked at me like, I don't know what you're talking about. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm with you.
Okay, good. Anyway, so during the war, like after the war, women were going to work more, right? And so they didn't want to hand wash their knits because you had to hand wash them. So the wool industry was actually really starting to suffer. And the disposables, and then they came up with the rubber pants. Like somebody actually cut up a shower curtain to use as the first diaper cover. So the wool industry was kind of suffering from that. And then the polyester started to come out. The rayons were coming out. Do you remember the 70s? You think of plastic clothing in the 70s, right? Like these crazy nylons and like they used to have silk stockings. Like the black line down the back of the leg? That's because it was literally sewn and it was silk and there's no stretch to them. Like they would fall down, right? So we had the nylons and plastic, and then we've been shrouding ourselves in plastic ever since then. And along came rashes and, like there's a lot of problems that come with that. And then the disposable diapers came into play in like the 70s as well. And they were only made for traveling. It was just for convenience for travel so that you didn't have to bring your cloth with you. And then it became more prevalent and like, so like this whole thing of like, are you using like normal diapers? And it's like, yeah, I'm using cloth diapers. Those are the normal ones, because really the whole disposable thing has only been around since, like for 40 years. And they used to only be made from cotton. And then they had like a plastic bag around the outside. So you put that tab on and like, it was a one-way ticket. You would have to, there's Yeah, you put it on and it would rip the whole outside coating of the diaper off and the cotton fluff all over the place, right? I remember
Oh, that
that from
sounds
my
so fun.
babysitting days. Yeah, so anyway, and then they got into like this the POL for the disposable, or sorry, the cloth diapering as well, which is a polyurethane laminate, which again is plastic. So all these things they don't breathe, so they cause rashes. And whereas the wool is breathable, so now there's a lot of people going back to using natural diapers, using cottons and hemp and all these different fabrics that Mother Nature gave us, and then the wool as a diaper cover. And sports enthusiasts are using it. The fine suits, like if you're gonna get a really nice men's suit, it is made from wool. So, and sports enthusiasts like first responders use wool for, in at least in Canada, because of the fire retardant nature of the wool.
Of course,
And
that makes sense.
all the HBC, the Hudson's Bay Company blankets, those were all wool. I mean, we've been using wool for like so many things, and a lot of people don't even realize it.
True. Yeah. That's why you're using it. That's why it's important. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's totally valid. But so you're using merino wool and so clothing and personalized fashion. But so you do like merch and
Yeah, so I'm a big lady. I'm like 6 feet tall. I have size 13 feet, and the rest of me to go with it. like so I've like been traumatized by going into stores and not being able to fit. There's nothing in the store that will fit my beautiful big body. Shoe stores, clothing stores, bras, underwear, like hats. My head is massive too. Um, so I've been traumatized by that. So I built that right into the business of like, we don't have a fat tax, nor do we have any skinny shaming either. Your body is your body and it's beautiful, and let's put some nice clothing on it that fits you. Um, and it is about that personalized thing. And we don't have boy colors or girl colors. We just have colors. And I just want to accept everybody for who they are and just live in peace and harmony and just bring out the best in everybody that I get to work with,
yeah.
and um, there's, I just think that there's just something like fast fashion, which has been coming out like since the 70s too. Like everything, so many things changed. Like we've been going through so much change in the 1900s. Um, and like before the war too, there was no such thing as a department store. Like that came out, right? So there was no on the rack clothing. Do you remember there was a movie? I think that uh, Julia Roberts was in it, Pret a Porter, which means like ready to wear. Do you? No, you're blanking out at
I
me.
no, I'm
Some
not a
some
big
people
movie watcher.
listening are going to be like, I know what you're talking about. But so it's like the whole
Oh,
French
I'm
thing of
sure.
like pret a porter, or like ready to wear, ready to carry, and it was a whole clothing line that was just one size fits most, or like the standard sizing thing would happen. So the inseams were the same, and like so that's when the ready to wear clothing came out. And before that, it was all custom made. You go to a dressmaker, you go to a tailor, and they would fit you and they would make clothing for you. And people didn't have hundreds of things in their closet. They would have like the fancy dress for Sunday, and then they would have just their homespun, or, like the rich people would maybe have a bunch of stuff, but like normal
Right.
people wouldn't have all these clothes. And this is about consumerism and trying to sell as much as we can. The amount of textile waste, even like the fabrics are so cheap, the labor, they're not paying people well, and it is cheaper to just make as much as they can, and they would rather throw out the excess than make what is needed.
Oh,
So they
so
will, and so
depressing.
they're throwing out clothes that haven't even been worn yet, because and
It's
the
just too many.
margins on it, like maybe their margin is like 90%. So if they're throwing out some of it, they take that into account, and then they're charging all this money for it, going into the landfills, and then they're pitching to us as a consumer like, you're worth it. Go treat yourself, right? And go buy more clothing. And then it's like your value and your self-worth comes from how much crap is in your closet with stickers on it that you haven't even worn yet. And it's just, we're bombarded by consumerism every day, all the time. And I was reading this thing about, so you asked me earlier, I don't know if it was before we started recording, like, what does sustainability mean to me? And so there's my French coming out again, is in French, sustainable is the same word for durable, durable. And sustainability is about having, it's not just some greenwash catchphrase. It is about having something that is lasting, that works. So having a sustainable business is something that has good practices that the business can endure and can last. That's not going to break. And so we've kind of transcended into sustainability, meaning like good for the environment, but really it just means that it's lasting. So like really there's sustainability in plastic garbage too, right? Because it's going to last. Yep. And so like I'm growing a sustainable business that like I'm not going to burn out. I treat my staff well. Like my first 2 hires are still with me. They've been with me for 16 years. I love them to bits. Like they were here today. I saw them today. But like, it's about having that durable business and sustainability. And I see so many people trying to start a business and then they undervalue themselves. They undercut the market. They end up paying themselves less than minimum wage and they're never going to make it. Sometimes it costs them to even be running their business because, so that's not sustainability. So, and then the clothing and where I was going before was that they're making clothes that actually are more durable, that will last longer than what people are using them for. Like there's some cheap clothing you wash them once they fall apart at the seams, but then there's also clothing that it's outdated. Like the Victorian era, Victoria was a person. She was the queen. It was an era. The fashion didn't change for the life of a person. Now fashion trends are changing 4 times a year. Why? Somebody is wearing the same piece of clothing that I did. It's like,
it's wild. Yeah.
It's teaching us to buy, right? And not to fix. It's cheaper to buy and replace and like having new trends in the fashion and everything because people are making money off of us.
Yeah. Yeah. I did an episode with another Canadian lady. We were talking about, the title of the episode was Celebrating the Extended Life of Things.
Yes.
So like, I'm not saying like, oh, look at this new thing I just got. It's so shiny and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I've had this sweater for 20 years. I've kept it hanging on and, I'm patching it. Like, how about me? Like, that's something to celebrate. So that was just
absolutely
really fun.
And I think that people are really coming back to that. And I mean, I was joking. This shirt is, I think, 20 years old. I have my wool sweater. It's got a bleach stain on it. I don't care. I'm wearing it. I'm at work. I'm good. Right?
Yeah, same. Yeah. I don't buy, I can't remember the last time I bought new underwear, but that's about it. That's everything else is used or I've just had it forever. But yeah, I know
bodies change shape and everything too. And that's what like we do next to, like we'll have women that will buy something while they're pregnant or they're intending to get pregnant. And I'm like, you know what, when you're done your pregnancy, send it back to me and I will alter it to fit your new body, your post-pregnancy body. Not your skinny body or your pre-pregnancy body, but whatever your body looks like now, and in an embracive sort of like you made life, like good for you, and we'll make it fit you again, to fit you. Okay. And I think that these things are important, to support one another and right. Or people are on a weight loss journey, or they're in menopause and they're in a weight gain journey because that stuff happens too. I'm here for it. I'll add wedges. I'll do anything I can to keep stuff out of the landfill.
I think that was the message that really got my attention when you reached out to me. Like I love to repair things and, make things last longer and stuff like that. I was like, I'm here for all that.
And, I mean it. Like some people are like, oh, I wish I could, or I want to do this. And I'm like, no, I will send you a shipping label to get the stuff in, and then I will fix it for you because I care,
Right. Well, and if you find something that's the problem that so many of us have, our body changes shape or whatever, and we're like, I have to let go. I have to let go of these pants that I love, because they just don't fit anymore. But the fact that you can, you have clothes that you love that you've been wearing for a long time, your body changes. You don't want to let them go just because of that. The fact that you're offering to fix that, to hold on to those clothes is.
We're in the middle of, I'm using technology to help the sustainability of my business to keep it going. So the next thing, I'm just in the middle of switching over to Shopify. I've been trying to use this WordPress site for way too long. There's another one of my traumas that I won't get into. But once we get the site all migrated over and sorted out, I will be launching. I'm saying this, it's February, so we'll see. I'm saying this February 23rd of 2026. We'll see how long it takes me to get it done. A consignment store of my products. So you can send, like one of the, like we sell children's clothing as well, right? So kids grow. This definitely happens.
Kids
And
definitely.
we already
grow.
have a really good buy, sell, and trade built into the business through, like, we have a Facebook group, and people will buy and they'll churn things and keep like the clothing items going. But there's a lot of them that are like, they have, who's got the spoons for this sometimes, right? So they have like a laundry basket of shame in their closet of like some wool clothing that they would love to sell, but like taking pictures of it and like trying to get it, they can't just like give it away or donate it. Like, this stuff is worth more than that, right? It's got some value to it. And they're not going to throw it out, but it just sits there waiting. So I recognize that this is another problem. So I'm going to open up. So I'll send a prepaid shipping label. You don't have to worry about customs or duties or any of that nonsense, because we're CUSMA certified. Since the Canadian, US, Mexico agreement, there's no duties or taxes. We made it through that whole thing unscathed for the most part. So I get you ship me your stuff. We'll go through it. We'll repair anything that we can repair. If there's any wear on the seams, we'll get it all cleaned up. We'll take nice professional photos, put it on the consignment website, and then you either get cash back or credit to buy something new or to use in the consignment store. And then other people, rather than like trying to buy from some stranger that they don't know, or like there's that fear of buying used online from somebody and having it shipped. It reduces all of that, so we can get like a whole basket into one, and we can sell it to like 20 different people. And then you can also buy from multiple different people at the same time. So it reduces the whole carbon footprint to the shipping, and they can order new with it as well. And they also have that confidence that it's not falling apart at the seams. And like, so I think it's just going to be a really good, I'm excited about it all. So I just need the technology to support, because it needs to not be, it's dealing with people's money, right? So it needs to be stable and clear. So I'm very excited to get this launched and to do that for women's clothing too. So you can do the same thing. It's like, I got these pants. I love them, my maternity pants. And now I want to trade them in for not maternity pants. And then you can trade them with another mama that's like having a baby, right? And so it creates that community and of like-minded people that.
It's like trade.
That's
really cool.
It's really neat, right? I'm jacked. I'm doing it. I'm committed now. I said it out loud on the internet.
Said it.
I said it. It's happening.
That's accountability.
Yeah.
And so you said, build boldly and stay ethical. Like, that's a really powerful statement. And I'm curious what boldly means to you exactly.
Well, I had it right down. I mean, like I said in the beginning, I didn't have a lot growing up, and I hate waste. Like, I'm like cut the mold off the cheese kind of gal, right? And reuse the plastic Ziploc bag. Well, we don't even have Ziploc bags. Like it was
right.
Anyway,
now it's the silicone bags,
right? So so it's just very, very, like, that was just built into me, and it just because it's hard doesn't mean that it's not worth doing. And being a challenge has never been an obstacle for me. And I just, like, I need to be able to sleep at night, and I tend to be, people have told me before that I'm very empathetic. Like, I read the room really quickly, and I genuinely care about people's feelings around me. So that can lead me into trouble sometimes. But I really genuinely, authentically care. I care about our planet. I care about my staff. I care about our customers. I care about our garbage island. Like, I just care so deeply about everything. So it was just not negotiable for me to make sure that all of those things are built into this business. And if I can't do it the way that it needs to be done, then I won't do it. I either will figure it out, or we won't be able to do that thing. So, and I think that just going against the grain and being, like, people have asked me, well, why don't you just grow the business and outsource? It's like, that's not what we're doing. It's not about selling as much as I can. It's about providing a service of what I think is important. Like, there's magic in this fabric. And like, I have built my whole business about expanding the knowledge of wool and how amazing it is. And like when people are telling me that their kid went into surgery, and she asked him, what do you want to bring to make you more comfortable at the hospital? Only thing he could think of was the pants that I made for him. I mean, that touches my soul. Like,
Right.
you know, and or moms that they want a cloth diaper, you know, like new moms that they're trying to breastfeed, they're having issues, and there's just shame around how you're feeding your kid. There's shame around everything.
Yeah.
Are you co-sleeping? Are you not co-sleeping? Are you, you know, like around everything. So you want a cloth diaper, and then you're having all these leaks, and your kid is like screaming through the night. You're not sleeping. You're waking up co-sleeping, covered in urine every morning, and you're like, I want to do this thing, and other people are doing this thing, and I'm struggling, and something's wrong with me. Like those, like just shrouded in shame. So much of us. And then they tried my diaper cover, and it solved all of their problems. Their kid slept through the night, and they had dry sheets, and it's because we're using an ancient way of doing things that actually freaking works, you know?
Right.
And it saved their sanity. Like this is like my business being bigger isn't shameful to, you know, like to expand. It's like this beautiful gift that I figured out that I want to share, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, it's the education part, I think, that and you back it up. You know, it's not just a sham. It's not just
it's not like some greenwashing, like, nasty, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And so people find that, and they're like, this really works.
Yeah.
And it's comfortable, and it looks good, and like all it just like I said earlier, just checks all the boxes. And
you know, like I'm helping people like fit. So I'll do like a call, like a video conference with somebody to get a pair of pants. You know, our bodies are all so different. And then it's like I am a plus size woman. So like when somebody is like feeling shame about the way that they look, and I'm like, you're a goddess. Let's measure that rise. And I'm like, okay, we're going to get that measuring tape. We're going to thrust to get it in front of you so you can measure your rise, you know, or, you know, just make it fun and joyful and comfortable and owning our awesomeness, you know? And oh man, like I just feel so blessed to be able to do what I'm doing with so much passion, and like to go after and do the hard thing, right? So bold, I think it's just like not doing it the normal way, like the normal standard way. And it's not even the way that it's been done. Like the way that we're doing all the things that we're doing now, none of this is like normal way. The fact that I'm talking to you hundreds of miles away, you know, this isn't normal. I don't even know how much it is. Lots of miles. You know, like it's everything that we're doing now is so different. There's no standard operating procedure for life nowadays. You know, and things used to be the life cycle of things was so much longer, and now it's so temporary. And I feel like we're just all floating around in the cosmoses of our worlds and our ecosystems and feeling lost.
Yeah. So, we're doing this new way of doing something, and they're like, this is the original way. Mm-hmm. Wool is the original fabric.
Exactly.
And so it's an interesting time where we're talking about wool as being a new sort of fabric, a new way of working with things. But I think, you know, it's just, we've been away from it for so long. And so thank goodness for people like you who are educating and who are, I mean, you're like screaming it from the rooftops because it needs to be heard, because there's just too much of the synthetic that it's just not doing good things for us.
Well, it's not. And I think that, you know, we're all, I mean, you can go into like the hokey pokey woo woo sort of stuff too. And like, really, if you think about it, and I don't know where everybody's at with some of this stuff, but if you really think about it scientifically, we're all energy. We're all electrons. We're all stardust. Like literally supernova happened to create the elements, to create like over and over again until like planets and solar systems were developed. Like we're literally stardust. We're all magic. And so I remember Contact. Do you remember that Jodie Foster movie, Contact?
Never saw that.
I'm not
a movie person.
Okay. But there's like this one part of it that they were, you know, she sees the aliens and nobody believes her and stuff. And she like didn't believe in them and blah, blah, blah. But there's this one point that she was talking and she's like, just how small and tiny and precious we all are. Like it is a freaking miracle that we're here. and for such a short period of time. And I just think like the whole symbiosis of our planet, and like I was watching this documentary about elephants, and I know you're like, wow, she went on a tangent, but the elephants, they would go through, it was just like this, I think it was in Africa, and they had to walk through this forest to get to this water, and if they didn't get to the water that only came once a year for a few months because of the rains, right? It was like dry, rain. And then if they didn't get to the water, they would die. And they had to go back over to their breeding grounds for some reason, and they walked through this like forest, but the leaves were toxic to them, but not so toxic that they would get like super sick and die, but toxic enough that it just kept on urging them forward. If they stayed and ate the trees, they would die. Like the leaves of the trees pushed them forward towards the water to help them survive. Like how weird is that? And then like the hippos.
It's just instinct, I think, and it's wild to think about.
But like there's two things, and then they were eating the plants, but if they stayed, they would get sick, right? So then they would keep on moving on, and they're like interspersed, and then they're spreading the seeds through their poop to like proliferate this forest, right? And
the leaves that make them sick.
Right? And then there was like the waterways would like flood, and then the hippos, they can't swim, but they could walk, and they would like create these channels. And then if they didn't create the channels, then it wouldn't flood properly. And then like this is the amount of symbiosis and things that would work together, and just how these things have been happening for so long. And I think it's just going back to those old ways of like the wool and the sheep, and like if we don't shear the sheep, they'll die. And and then we use that for our protection from the elements, and how they all just work together. And it's just a beautiful thing.
It really is. I mean, nature can take care of itself. We've just like interfered and made things weird for a while, but we need to just really embrace that and understand that
there was a reason.
Yeah. But I mean, that's actually a really cool story. I love that it's just like, it makes me think of, here I go now, the dark crystal, when the ancients just like, they just wander, but they know where they're going, and they just keep going, and all these things are happening, and the great conjunction. But it's just like, it's just instinct, and it's tradition. Like it's just what happens in life. But like you were saying, like nothing is normal like what is normal right
we're so far away from being able to listen to our instinct, and I think that's why so many people are feeling so lost, because it's so noisy. Yes, so noisy that we can't even hear it. And then there's a few of us that are kind of listening, and then I've been really practicing pausing. And like so my son went off to university in September, and I was just feeling like the tariffs had hit, our sales were declining, so many businesses shut down, like so many companies that I know the owners, and they had to close, and the tariffs were just like the nail in the coffin for them. And like we had so many retailers across North America, and like there's only a few of them left because the rest of them shut down. And these are like small independent mom businesses and stuff, right? And between COVID and anyway,
your son went off to university,
and I'm like, what I'm doing, I built this amazing thing. I have like, my customers are so fantastic. The whole ecosystem, the product that we have, we built some really cool technologies to support what we're doing, so I can maintain my staff. My staff have been here for ages, but something's not working. It doesn't, like the engine is broken, and I could feel it broken. And so I had a bit of a nervous breakdown, and I'm like so I stopped. I dead stopped. And it's not the first time I've done this. And I just stepped out of this like river that I was in, that was drowning me. Like I just felt like I was just bobbing up and down in the water, swallowing water, and it was muddy and unclear, and I didn't know where I was going, and like I knew I had all the tools, but nothing was working. So I stepped out of the river, and I just like breathed. I just paused, and I was like, took a moment to feel pride for what I built and how I did it. And like, this is that whole bold integrity. Like it is unnegotiable that I like I said, right? So, and I just paused, and I witnessed, and I celebrated, and then I just was quiet. Like I remember, I sat in my chair, my staff weren't there, and I just quietly, I'm like, it is broken, but it's fixable. It's still durable. It's still sustainable. But what do I need to repair? Where do I need to go? And then I recognized, like, I have spent the last 18 years looking after our kids. Like, my husband and I have been together, and we decided before we had our kids. I mean, my son's name is William. He's William the Fourth. My husband is William the Third. We knew his name before we weren't even married yet, and I knew what we were going to name our kid. Like, we wanted to have kids. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. He's an engineer and can look after the finances. I wanted to help support. Like, I'm not an idle person. So me messing in with starting a business or babysitting, or I don't know what I was going to do. I needed to do more than, there's nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mom if that's what you choose to do. I love women's right movement to support the choice to do what you want to do. That's what it wasn't that you have to go to work or you can't be a stay-at-home mom to get that choice. Just want to make sure I'm not shaming anybody because, oh man, shame. There's so much shame in this world, and the last person to shame anybody. So this is what we decided. We decided I was going to stay home, that I needed to help financially support a bit, and through whatever means, and that I was going to look after our kids. We didn't want to have babysitters. That was the whole thing. So the business is built around that principle. And the two ladies that worked for me, their lives were built around the same principle. So now our 6 kids, like Becky, who was my first hire, the kids were 2 and 4. She had a 2 and a 4-year-old. I had a 2 and a 4-year-old. Those 4 kids were raised.
So you guys were going through the same thing together.
We were doing it together. And so the 4 kids were ransacking my house. They were playing. They're still friends. And the time that the 2 younger ones got my roll of stickers, stamps, like mailing stamps, like the $300 worth of stamps, and put them all over the house. There's still one on the vacuum cleaner. They dumped a whole thing of orange juice on my coffee table. There was this whole thing with this cucumber dance that they did. I don't know. It was just, they had this great childhood. And now all of them, we have graduated vet, which is really hard to get in Canada. Like, she had to do her MCATs. Another one's getting her master's in education. Brilliant young ladies. My son's taking nuclear engineering, and the other one is taking journalism in England. So she took off, they're just excelling in life. And I do think that, and we're all married still, and I just think that we just created this environment of love and respect and fostering, go do the hard thing. So, and the other 2 kids that are still in their grade 11, they're just, they're going to do something amazing. They didn't need us as much anymore. We did it. That was our success. That's the goal. And now it's okay, I'm ready to, if the business exploded into this multi-million-dollar massive enterprise, we couldn't have done what we set out to do. And I cherish that. I was there. We were all there for the assemblies and the birthday parties and then now it's okay, we're all hitting the perimenopause, we're all getting a little bit more forgetful than I'd like to admit, and we're all very good at what we're doing, and I'm just ready to take things to the next level. So if I continue to do the things that I was doing, it would never get me there. It was almost like it was broken on purpose so that I could actually take this leap to boldly go into the next stage of success.
Right. So, and there's that word bold again. And as you're telling that story, I'm just thinking of you've probably seen the memes like I have, but your cell phone has updates all the time. You're constantly updating your cell phone. And so, every so often we need to take stock and, upgrade ourselves, take a break and figure, find our why, find our passion again, and find our path. It just happens. It's part of it. I mean, we update our phones every 2 months. I don't know, but we stay on the same path until something says,
so much you just need to slap in the face, right? And or not. kick in the butt.
Oh no, I'm just saying, or that, I was like,
that, yeah.
update or, kick in the butt. It's fine.
And I really recognize, I'm like, you know what? I want to share my story. And so I did a couple of, because we mostly sell to the United States online. Like that's been so I'm like, I'm not talking to my local people. Like they don't even know I exist. So right. I went to a local trade show. I went to a couple of like a customer, craft fair. And
that's awesome.
I was telling my story and they're like, how have I not heard of you? And I'm like, yeah, I've been doing this for 18 years. I know. I'm like, dang, 18 years. Like I'm old. And people are like, I've been trying to do my business for 4 years. Like you're inspiring me that I can maybe do this thing. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I got to tell my story. How can I do this? I need to get in like the newspaper. That's old. Podcasting. This will be fun. So now I'm on LinkedIn and I'm getting on podcasts because like, I just want to inspire somebody to go do the hard thing. Like, yeah, it's totally worth it. And like, my bank account doesn't represent how awesome I am, but my soul feels it. Yeah. I'm just like, and my kids see it. My kids see how hard I've worked and that, their dad supported me and showing them that they're going to go off.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's beautiful. I mean, I love that you're so empathetic, Stephanie, that you are just like, I want everyone to feel good. I want everyone to feel supported. And I think that's awesome. I do have a couple of questions about the product.
Hey, okay.
Oh my gosh. Why are we here again?
Keep me on track.
I'm just curious. I mean, if you're able to, custom make something, I'm just curious what the time frame is. I'm sure it depends on like, are you having a big coat? Or are you having, a pair of socks or hat?
So basically, so we're in the middle of migrating over to Shopify. And I realized like, I love to do all the things. I also recognize that I don't finish anything. Like, so my website was like a hodgepodge of 80% completed projects. So somebody messaged me and like, hey, can you do this? I'll be like, yeah, totally. I can do anything. Let's go play. So now I've really peeled it back and I'm like, okay, we're finishing the diaper cover and like the kid mom kind of thing. So I'm getting that done. And then I'm building out this whole, so we also make the most amazing lanolin tallow soap and cosmetic line as well. I'm using natural ingredients like cocoa and coffee and getting like real fruit and like cucumber from a local farmer and putting it in. And like I'm rendering
and lanolin is from sheep as well, right?
And lanolin is from sheep and it's antibacterial. I didn't even talk about how you can use, okay, so wool as a diaper cover, you put lanolin on it and it makes like a waxy waterproof coating on the inside. You can put it on the outside to keep like the elements off, but you put it on the inside and it will repel the urine back to the diaper. Right? And then when it gets overly saturated, the lanolin will neutralize the urine and turn it into water and salts. Then the water will soak into the essential core of that wool fiber.
And then evaporate
out the outside. Look at you already, Amy. You knew it was going to happen. Okay, so reduces the temperature, reduces the humidity, reduces the rashes. Then, this is the best part. You take the diaper cover off, as long as there's no food or poop on it or anything. Air dry it, and you can reuse it for like 2 weeks without freaking washing it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so much less laundry. You only need a couple covers. And then you can also use pants too. Like, so our clothing is a diaper cover. So, and you can use it for medical applications. Like, you're an adult in a wheelchair that's incontinent, right? So you can use it for that or just having it as a sheet underneath you, like a blanket. It's a, waterproofing, or your spicy time too, if you want to get into that. But so it's, there's so many amazing blah, blah, blah. So I started making the lanolin is also food grade, right? So it's used as a breast nipple cream because you can nurse with it. Right? You don't have to wash it off because the babies can eat it. It is hydrophobic, so it actually traps and seals in the moisture in your skin.
What is that word? Hydro what?
Phobic, as in scared of water.
Oh.
So it actually will trap the water. It doesn't it makes it impermeable. So it traps the moisture of your skin inside. So you like get it moisturized and then you put the lanolin on. It's used for lubricant as an industrial lubricant and also food safe. So you can use it like industrial machinery to make like cookies and stuff and baking, they'll use
interesting.
lanolin for it, because I know it's like all over the place, right? So it's basically what petroleum was before we made it ourselves. Oh, it's like petroleum is the fake lanolin, basically. Oh my gosh, right? Boom.
Oh.
I know, really cool. So we also make that. And then, so the custom clothing, to answer your question, which I actually remembered what your question was. So we have like these mainstay patterns. I used to have everything on paper. So we had a paper pattern, drafted it in-house. We use that to cut our garments out, all one at a time. I want to have your garment out within 2 weeks. That's always the goal. If it's a diaper or winter gears, I assume that everybody's sense of urgency on that is 100%. Right? Your hands are cold. You want that thing right now. You want your diaper, like you heard the miracle. I need it. So we try to get that out within a day or two. And then the rest of the stuff, it's got zippers on it. It takes a little bit longer. If we don't have the pattern and we need to customize it, it takes a little bit longer. If we don't have the color, I do all the dyeing as well. I love playing with color.
That's so cool.
So I get like big pallets of the fabric in, and then I do all the dyeing. So we'll do like a scrunch tie-dye. But like, I don't like the 1970s acid, kind of tie-dyes much. I want like a fluid, like artistic,
like block,
bohemian,
sort of,
fair, sort of a fluid, sexy kind of a dyes. But I'll do some more striking ones as well. And I like to play. I get bored easily. You might have figured that out. And we also do solids. So if I don't have the color that you want, I'll make something. And then so we have our patterns. And then I've also learned how to digitally draft the pattern. So I draw everything in Adobe Illustrator. So I'll draft the pattern to fit your size. So we'll have like our Maine standard. So if you're like, oh, I'm kind of like a small up top and they have like bigger hips, so I need to widen. Easy. Boom, 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 done. Takes me like a minute. So,
oh my gosh.
And then we have a projector that projects the pattern onto the table for cutting. So there's no paper anymore. We're all digital.
Oh my gosh.
So because during COVID, I'm like, it was like a university class to figure out which pattern to pull out of like our 16 rolling file folder things, right? So Becky was the one that was in charge of that. We hired somebody to help with the cutting, Krista, who's still here. But so Becky would have to go pull the file folder, and to put it back. And then if we didn't have the pattern, making alterations, like we need to add an inch, it's like measuring. And
yeah, I was just going to say, if you have the paper patterns and if there are alterations needed, how do you, that's probably just math that I don't do, but
yeah, it's complicated, right? So now we just do it all digitally and it's so much easier. So sometimes I'll buy a pattern and I'll make some alterations to it or changes because it needs to work with the fabric that we have. Right. So I know what our fabric can and can't do. Again, that's like people ask me to do stuff. I'm like, we can't do that with the fabric. Like, it's just not going to be the right application. I want everything to work. I don't want it to sit in your closet. So I'll put every ounce of energy into making it fit properly. And then also I'm super impatient. So I don't want you to wait. So the quicker the better, as long as it's not going to, like I won't jeopardize quality to rush through anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So usually 2 weeks.
Okay. That's great. And so now I have even more. I have another question. So you had said something about, you had mentioned pallets of fabrics. Where does that get stored? You have a like a storehouse, like a warehouse?
So I have a 1,500 square foot commercial space now. So we moved out of the basement into this rental. Like, it's a rental. I don't own it. It's got, the ceiling is plywood. It gets really cold in the back. It's kind of like an office space in the front, and then like a big bay with like the big door, in the back. Yeah. And then I do all the dyeing here, and I have 3 commercial I have washing machines, and then they're like the old school top loads. And then I have a hot water boiler to put boiling water for the dyeing. And then, I have industrial machines and computers, and people are like, oh, crazy wool lady that she's got this like cute little thing in her basement. I'm like, no, guys, you come and see, like, it's cool. So we're using technology.
Messing around.
I'm not messing around. Yeah.
Okay. And so where are your retailers?
Well, we don't really have very many right now because a lot of them closed. So even the ones that we do have, they're not doing a lot of purchasing. So like I have Little Monkey Cheeks in Ontario was one of the most recent orders of some diaper covers. I have a new contract with Redwood Cloth that's putting in an order for some diaper covers as well. And then Lily and Frank also with diaper covers out in Langley, which is like Vancouver area. And then Redwood is in the United States, and pretty much everybody else is, yeah. But I think with the new website and what we're doing, and so like we're doing the soap is a really good product to have in boutique stores. And I would like to get into some of like the fancy stores that sell, like I'm ready for it now to expand that line. So like fancy ski resort town, make like a hat and mitten scarf set, you know,
Oh my
like people
gosh.
that, you know, right?
For sure.
And
Yeah.
and that will love, and then having it properly branded and the right story, and you know, I want to share the love of what we're doing in authentic way, and then something that's an heirloom product that they can feel proud to give to somebody that's just not the same old stuff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, hopefully there are enough people that are they're done with the, you know, just I was just having a conversation with somebody saying that I don't even think it was a conversation that I was having, but
With myself, I was telling myself this awesome
I
story.
think it might have been an Instagram reel. Yes, it was totally an Instagram reel. I had nothing to do with it. I was just watching it. But this is like, you know, this is what social media does to us. We're like, oh no, it's totally there. But so this guy was saying, I dislike and I commented, I was like, I am not a fan of the gift holidays because it's that whole, like, I have to get something. I have to get something. It doesn't matter what, but just to say that I got something, and not just like, you know, the less thought and like, and I've done this in the past bunch of years. Like I really don't need stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, you know, I'm okay to not get gifts.
Well, and like the gift of experience or the consumables, right?
Or
so
something,
like
or something that will last, something that's meaningful, something that's, you know, homemade is fine always. But, you know, I need it to, and it's not that it's not about necessarily junk. It's like, I have a tiny home and I don't have space for it. And I just, you know, I like you, like, I don't want something that's going to sit in my closet and not get used. So
I'd rather give nothing than give something that you're not going to like. It's like a gift of guilt.
Yeah.
Here's a gift of guilt of this thing that you don't really want. That's just going to sit there staring
You're
at
welcome.
you. Here,
Yeah.
here it is. And I think like the gifts of service or activities, you know, are nice. Like to do something together. Memories are good. Yeah, there's so much junk out there. And then, you know, like Valentine's Day is like this holiday to fill in a gap to sell more greeting cards. And now we have like kids, and flowers, right? And then Kids Day, and like even like the whole big wedding thing, and like all the gifts for weddings. And it used to be a way for the community to come together to support the love for a couple. It wasn't supposed to cost anything.
Right.
I had a very cheap wedding. I think about
in Costa Rica. Well, yeah.
Well, we got married I love my husband so much, and I'm so, like, we've been through a lot together, and we got married. I remember we got down there, and we thought that I would be able to get my, like, immigration, right? And this could start working. So we get down there, it's like, no, it can take a couple of years. And it's like, I gotta get to work. So he went to a lawyer friend of his, and he explained the situation, and the lawyer said to him, "Do you love her?" And he said, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you going to get married?" And he's like, "Well, yeah." He's like, "Well, you should just do that. It's easier." And so he came home and he told me, and I was like, all right. So we got married like a week later. And I remember we said it's like a really, really official engagement. We'll have like the big wedding after. But then that night we were looking at each other. It's like, no, like we got married and we were happy about it. And,
yeah.
You know, and then like watching Friends, and they said like Monica, they're talking about the big wedding, and Chandler was like, "Do you want a marriage? Do you want a wedding, or do you want a marriage?" And it's like, yeah, like I don't need. I remember he came home from our first, I think it was our first anniversary, and like we were like newlyweds, right? We didn't have like a lot of stuff, and he came home with a microwave. And he walked through the door and he was so scared to give me this microwave. And because he's like, this is a practical gift. And I was like, he's like, I should have gotten you something like fancier. You know, I'm like, no, like I can make a potato in 5 minutes. Like, this is a beautiful thing. So yeah, I need that.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I just think the consumerism of stuff, and there's so much stuff.
Yeah.
So much stuff. Yeah.
I mean, on the topic of weddings, I mean, I've decided if I was ever to get married again, I would totally elope. We'll have a party, sure, but
yeah,
I don't need that whole thing. That stressful.
Yeah, so I didn't have like the big fancy wedding.
Yep.
Yeah, dress that I already had that I loved. I felt cute in. I got a little bouquet of flowers, and yeah, it was about the marriage and the commitment and all those sorts of things.
I love that. And, you know, I was thinking that, you know, you were saying you had a bit of a nervous breakdown and things felt broken and whatever, but you also, I love that you went to like the craft fair and you went to the local trade show, but that like gave you some juice, right? Like you connected with local people and they were like, what? You're 18 years?
But yeah, I was like, damn, I am hot stuff. Like, this is great. And it's really cool what we're doing. And sometimes sharing your story
it gave you a big boost.
It did. And then I'm like, I got to get into some podcasts. So I've been hitting that really hard. I was so excited to meet you today.
Oh my gosh. Well, same. So this is fascinating. And I'm definitely going to try to share I'm going to share your Instagram profile for sure so people can see what you're offering, because oh my gosh, that jumper with the ears and the hood is just so cute. And the diaper covers, holy moly. But you do merch as well, because you were saying that you were almost contracted to do some hats.
Right, yeah, so we do corporate apparel. So we can do
corporate apparel. That's
Ice Hero, merch, but... yes. So Ice Hero is just another, actually you should talk to her. Monica, she found me on LinkedIn, and they just did a product launch for this. I don't want to say it wrong, but basically it's this pump thing that heats water out in like the farm. So like you're not attached to anything, so it will keep, the water not iced to feed animals and whatnot, right? To water the cows. So she got hats from me to give to her first 50 customers. Right, so we got her logo on there. So the wool hats, right? Because they're clients, like it just all really made sense. And then we do. There's a big event happening with Alberta at Kananaskis, and what's the name of that TV show? The Last of Us. The Last of Us. Have you seen that? Anyway, that one's filmed in that area. That's like where I am. That's where a lot of TVs and movies and stuff like that are filmed. Anyway, because I'm near Banff. You heard of Banff? That's like a location that Wheel of Fortune will send you to. So I'm like, that's how fancy we are. Anyway, world renowned. Regardless, they're doing like this big event, and I'm like, I pitched my soap to go there because we make some really cool soap, and yeah. So, and we can do branding. We print your own stickers and then do embroidery. Figured out how to do custom embroidery, so you can give me I can print my own embroidery files.
That's right. You have like embroidery on the wool, and it's just so cute.
It's really cute. Yeah, we do animals, or somebody wanted like a Cars pair of pants, so I took like some of the different things. So it's like I'm not doing like the branding, like I'm not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize, or I don't want to tick off any of the big fish. But it alludes to it, like can't copyright 95. So I did some embroidery, and we're putting those on a pair of pants. So yeah, I like playing with stuff. Hummingbirds.
That's awesome. And so I think your story is beautiful, Stephanie. I love that you are so passionate about, a sustainable business and a sustainable product and taking care of people. I think that's like, above and beyond. Like that's the biggest thing, that you just want to take care of people, and you want people to feel good, and you want people to, look good.
It's not just about I want to take care of people. I want to empower people to find their own superpower and go and do the hard thing. Go do it. Like, what do you want, Amy? What's your thing?
I want a farm. I want to be on a farm.
But you have chickens. You just need a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean,
I hear you.
I want to be on a farm. I want this like peaceful, redundant life that just
the old way, like being part of the earth, right? And yeah, a lot of people are going back to the home, making sourdough bread, right?
Yeah, not it, but yeah, I get it.
Raising chickens. How many chickens do you have?
4. I lost one last week, but there was 5. But yeah, that's
what I'm bringing up some emotions.
Oh boy,
I'm sorry.
But so how can people find you? Where are you active, and where, website is
bumbywool.com.
Bumbywool.com. Okay. And
so Bumby is a made up word. It was Bumblebee Baby to start, and it's the first few letters and the last few letters jammed up to make a new word. And it's actually a last name, as well as the street that Hemingway used to live on. So if you type in Bumby, you'll find some people, and Hemingway will come up, and me, because it's not used very much, which is great. So I'm on Instagram, Bumby Wool, at Bumby Wool. You're going to find me on Instagram. I'm going to try to get onto TikTok, but I just think that I don't want to sell on TikTok. If I do something on TikTok, it'll be me having fun and being stupid. Effervescently myself, antics that are happening in the shop behind the scenes, and I need a little bit of time, and I think I just need somebody to come in and film me, because I won't do it myself. And then there's a website, and also on LinkedIn. I'm really active on LinkedIn, more about supporting entrepreneurship, businesses. Like, Amy, I'm going to stalk you and help you and support you in any way that I can to support what you're doing. I really like you, so we're going to be friends. I can tell.
Got you. And so Instagram, you're Bumby Wool also, right? Yeah. And you're on Facebook, right? Because you said that you
Facebook
have a
is a big
group.
Yeah. And like so I have the business page, and then we have the group, which is like an interactive chat. So there's like a few thousand people in there, and we share pictures and we talk, and like it's not just moms in there. It's mostly women. I think there's a couple of dudes in there, but it's mostly women. There's some like retired older women that are like going to Patagonia and doing the Camino and like wearing our wool because, our Reynolds or syndrome with like the cold hands, or, and we're just sharing, and it's like, and I'll share what we're doing. And then people are like, oh my gosh, I need to get that onesie with ears. Like, it's fun. It's a happy fun. There's no fighting. I don't have any admins or reps. It's just us in there being happy,
I love that.
I hopefully you'll join. Yeah, so, and I'm the only gatekeeper, so if you piss me off, I'll kick you out. I'm just kidding.
I will take you out.
Take you out. It's a beautiful place, and I'm really happy in there. And then our buy, sell, and trade as well.
And what was the last part?
The buy, sell, and trade. I also have like so you can sell.
Gotcha. Right. You got a Facebook business. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So Bumby Wool, everyone, bumbywool.com. Look for Stephanie Gross wherever she is. And I mean, wool is pretty magical, as we've just heard.
Yeah. This is a really long recording. I don't know how much you're going to cut out, Amy, or if you're just going to like blast it right on out there as it is. We'll see what we do. I can't wait to hear it. I'm so excited. And yeah. So, and I would love to like hear more about what you're doing too. So I'm going to have to listen to some more stuff. Do you talk to yourself? Do you do like your independent ones too? Maybe I'll have to do my own. Maybe I'll interview you. We'll do another podcast and we'll interview you, get you to talk about yourself.
Oh, goodness. Maybe. We'll see.
With some wine? Sorry. I'm like already like living in the future of our relationship. All right, Amy, it was so nice to meet you. I'm going to let you hang up on me now. Okay. I really enjoyed our time together.
Same, Stephanie. Thank you so much.